consequences, he uses too much intel, and people are like, this isn't normal. You're going to get looked into. That's a neat thing, right? They're just thinking, your intel's too good. Like, Washington's on to you. So
like, what's going on here? Yeah.
So he thinks he's going to become the biggest thing in the world, but then he goes, because he's crazy, and he uses too much, and people are like, no, this isn't right. It's another good move in a screenplay. I love that part about it. And then he has to kill the guy.
Yeah, he's like, Lazaro's gotta go. Heart attack, right? The casual heart attack.
The neck chop.
And I love it. He notices that he's coughing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't catch that. I actually, when I watched it, I saw him cough, and then what's his name looks at him. I'm like, am I supposed to catch on here? So I scrolled back, played that scene again, and that's how smart he is, though. Because he's like, oh, because he has no clue this guy's got heart problems. He doesn't know him, right? Castor has no clue but he noticed he had a weird cough. He's a smart man. He's like, boom, I got him. If I kill him, heart attack. Everybody knew he had a history. He wouldn't have done it had he not seen that cough, when he coughs. He's like, got you.
Is that why you always try to punch me when I was coughing in Korea, Matteo? Whenever I coughed, you were always trying to punch me in Korea when I was coughing. Is that why?
Yeah. I don't know.
Matteo was trying to kill me in Korea.
Really, if I was trying, I would have not missed. I was just working on my feint.
But it's smart. It's this weird movie that's smart, and then it also has a very Western meets Eastern feel too, successfully. So remember back then when in the 90s when America was trying to shoehorn in kind of Eastern action with like replacement
Jackie Chan?
Yeah, exactly. And so they were trying to shoehorn in Eastern aspects into Western films. I think this is one that did it. I mean, because John Woo was able to be John Woo in it, but I think it blends the melodrama with it, the shots and the doves and the slow motion and the crying with the balletic violence, I would say. And I love that it's finished up. So you have these gunfights that are super like kinetic and all this, and you have the boat chase, which is insane, but it finishes just like a nice American punch 'em up, which I kind of like. So it's a good blending of John Woo's gunplay, but then just two guys beating each other up on a beach and sidekicks.
At the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I dug that about it. I think Woo did a really good job of blending East meets West too. And I don't know. I think
Travolta said that.
Oh yeah.
I saw an interview just 20 minutes before he called, and I was watching some stuff, and he said with John Woo, it was it was so easy to bridge that gap.
Wow. Yeah.
Asian movies and not. Go check YouTube. It's one of the interviews. He said that was so cool about that. We could just seamlessly bridge it.
Ah.
Just what you said.
Yeah, and hey, I didn't even know that. That's all. But right, you don't feel it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's
not forced.
It's like watch Hard Boiled, watch The Killer. The vibe is there, and I guess that's because they just let John Woo make a John Woo movie. So Michael Douglas produced this movie. Big star.
Yeah. And he believes in it, I guess, right? If he's got the
exact. And this script bounced around forever. It was too sci-fi. John Woo said that it was too sci-fi. They brought it to him after Hard Boiled. He's like, there's too much sci-fi. So then they rewrote it, and then he eventually got it again. He's like, okay, this is good. Because remember the prison? The prison was supposed to be a sci-fi prison. People were supposed to shoot upside down. So the only thing they kept from that prison were the boots, and those were 25 pounds each, and everyone hated them. But that was the only kind of sci-fi thing about that prison. But originally it's supposed to be like that movie Lockout.
Oh, did you know those boots? I checked where they come from. They come from Mario Bros. The movie.
Really?
Yeah, the Koopa boots. Yeah, oh. Yeah. And they just changed the look a little bit. Those are because it was like two things. What's in common with Face Off and Mario Bros? I'm like, what? That movie was garbage. Mario?
Yeah.
With John Leguizamo, absolute trash. And then I was like, I clicked on what's common, and it was like those boots that they use in Face Off are the same ones that Koopa Troops use in the movie.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh man. See,
so
thanks for the research, man. I'm digging this. No, because I dove headlong into research on this, and you're bringing it too. This makes me happy. Oh, I love it.
One thing that so if I have to say like critic of the movie that I didn't like, and I'm trying to be like I like realism a lot. Well, my movies are still an escape, but I was not a fan of how he escaped from prison. I loved everything till he jumped in the water and then he's free.
Yeah, like there's still a helicopter
That's the one
in
I'm
the
like,
air.
Really? Because everything's cool. Like all the hardcore battle and awesome. And I remember being like, okay, he's gonna jump, but isn't there another scene? And it's like, no, he jumped into the water, done.
They would have boats. Like that helicopter's still around. he would have to resurface, right? They're not.
So that's probably my weak. There's 2 weak points in the movie for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of them, and it's passable. It's not like it ruins the movie. The only thing is you can say, well, Archer's a beast because he is, right? He's like the super fighter, like the man, action hero. We got ourselves, but still, like, yeah, sure, there's chaos in the prison, but it's the job of that helicopter. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, people are not retarded. Like, I don't know if I told you the story, but I jumped out of a boat in Vietnam back in the day to swim to another boat, and I got caught by security spotlights in a Halong Bay. And I remember going underwater because they're like, hey, you! And I was swimming to another boat in this bay. I was not supposed to do that. Just some adventure seeking, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I went underwater. I'm like, I'm going to lose them. But I'm like, Matteo, this is not a Nintendo game. Like, it's not like you come back up and the game resets. You remember those old games?
Yeah.
It's just like they don't know you're there anymore. So I came back out of the water and I tried to go around the boat. And like 10 seconds later, they moved the flashlight over a few feet. And here I am, like, you know, they're not morons.
Yeah.
Like, and it was pitch dark too. I was in the middle of the night in Vietnam in Halong Bay, like near Hanoi, and I jumped out and like they got me. I was taken on board, and also I'm like broad daylight, like a team of soldiers, and they saw him jump, and they're like, he's dead. And then everybody thinks he's dead except Castor. He's like, no, he's not. Find him. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
If he knows this guy's like a pro, but that was a little. At least Castor was smart and like, no, he's not dead. Find him. But everybody else is like. In the news, it said Troy is dead. Remember?
Yeah, he's not dead.
He's not dead.
He jumped 30 feet from a platform. So it's
Second
just
scene. I got another weak scene, and I'd like to know your weak scene that I rewatched. Sometimes, you know, I click back. I always remember it when Pollux dies. I always remember it. And I watched it again, and I found it was so random how he's just input there on that roof.
It's just swinging on a cable perfectly into him.
Like, I know Pollux was I thought he was on the other roof when he, like, sets up the attack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's like, and then, okay, cool, he sets the attack up, and he's like, hoo-hoo, brother, you know, his little voice, whatever, does his thing. And then, Archer runs up the building with the bomb when he's fighting against Castor. And then, out of nowhere, Pollux sees him, so he runs up that, like, little, like, ladder. And Cage runs up and takes the cable and just
right into him.
It's realistic because Pollux sucks as a fighter. Like you see him take the gun and like score him with it. Like he's not agile. He's like the opposite of his brother, right? The nerd. So yeah, sure, he got him. But that's such a weird, like, boom. They want him to die to make tension and make like Castor go a little more angry and crazy. Like you killed my brother. Makes sense, but the execution was just like jammed in a little randomly.
Well, they put him in the one spot where he could get kicked. And that's just kind of lazy writing. Imagine during that scene with the mirrors where he shoots through a mirror and somehow the guy had snuck back in there. And so he accidentally, because I don't think Sean Archer will murder in cold blood. So let's say he shoots through a mirror and kills Pollux. Like he doesn't know, but he still kills him. So that would give Castor a lot of anger because he killed my brother. Does that make sense? And it's not
It'd be beautiful too. It'd be very like you said, Shakespearean and all, like the identities switch. He doesn't know, like a Troy. Once again, like the movie Achilles' heel. You know, when Achilles and Patroclus gets killed, his friend Patroclus, when he wears Achilles' armor.
Yeah.
And our good old man, what's his name, kills him. I forget his name at the moment. I'm having a hard time remembering.
It's Hector.
Hector kills Patroclus, thinking it's Achilles. Once again, we got that Troy concept going on.
That's really interesting. Like, and also, like, he is kind of his Achilles heel because he's the one who orders the plane by himself, which causes everything to kick off.
Unravel.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's got the shoes too, right? It's something with the feet. Like he's always tying his shoes because he can't tie up his own messes. You know, he's like, when you tie something up properly, you close it. You don't give any leads.
Yeah.
But this guy can't close up the projects, so he needs his shoes tied. I mean,
so
like,
we have a villain who loves his family. Man. So, we're tying a lot of Troy stuff in here, man.
yeah, it's good. Yeah. Well, the Greek thing, I just want to say, that's one thing I remember of that movie. I think I saw it with my dad, actually, which is weird because he didn't let me watch it, but I was older, and he's like, hey, let's watch this movie. And a man can respect what a good action movie is. So my dad's like, this is a good movie, and we watched together. And he told me, he's like, I'm like, oh, Dad, what are those names? Like, they're so strange, you know? First time I hear Castor and Pollux. My dad's history teacher's like, oh, those are the two Greek brothers. They're warriors, he told me. They're really good warriors. And that's why I'm like, cool. And that's why they are good warriors. Well, Pollux ain't that good, but he's still a bad guy. Like, he's not
He can make bombs.
And I'm like, yeah, he's like he's a tough guy. You'd want him in a crew, probably, you know? Like, still.
Computer guy.
He's that guy, yeah, he's the brain. So I'm like, damn, Castor's a badass. Like he's a Greek, like his name's after a Greek warrior. And I always liked mythology. Like I read all that stuff. So I always remember my dad telling me that part, and it stuck with me till this day, like Castor and Pollux. And I researched on that. What's funny about what the director did in the real stories, Pollux is actually the better fighter and Castor's the weaker one.
Whoa.
So they changed it, and Pollux is the one who Zeus is his father, because they're half brothers. They're not true brothers. So Pollux has the divine blood. He has the blood of Zeus in him, and Castor is actually the weaker one. They just share the same mom. But John Woo and the writers, they changed it. They made Castor the better fighter.
And I also love that the main character's name is Sean Archer, and he's a Sagittarius. The Archer, one of the constellations of the zodiac, is diametrically opposite halfway around the year from the constellation Gemini. Castor and Pollux are two major stars in the constellation Gemini. So this is another one, man. This is
because they like Zeus. I read that story. Castor said, Pollux said, I want my brother to be immortal like me. Mm-hmm. So Zeus said, sure. Boom, I make you both stars. He just made them stars.
Oh, yeah,
like on a kind of a punishment way. Like, sure, you're immortal. You want your brother to be immortal. I'll make you both immortal. Like now you're Gemini. You're the stars, like you said.
Oh, so this movie has it. I love it. And I guess as we're wrapping up, I think there's enough neat. What I like about this movie is there's some weird moments in it that just make it stick out from any mainstream. So when Gina Gershon when Sasha and Dietrich, when they're saying goodbye, they're like brother sister, but then they kiss. There's like that weird kiss in there, and there's just the little lines in there that make this movie weird. The freakouts, and I think there's just personality to it, if that makes sense. You know what's weird? When Dietrich got killed, I was bummed out. This guy's a horrible, horrible man. Horrible man. When Sasha got killed, I was bummed out for her. When some of the cops get killed, I was bummed out for them. It's weird.
That's me, but yeah.
Yeah, the side characters, I guess, you like. It's an interesting. I like movies that allow side characters room to breathe, and I think that's why the 136 minutes, so 2 hours and 16-minute movie works, because it's not just action, action, action. There's a lot of drama in this movie as well, and some of it's played for laughs, some of it's played for serious. But I dig it. I dig that this movie was allowed to breathe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not rushed. Like Dietrich, awesome character. The way he cares about the son,
like
shoots the guys with the shotguns, and even helps. He loves Castor.
Mm-hmm. He does.
Like, I got you. And it's so horrible how Castor kills him.
Oh, man, that pissed me off.
He kills his friend. It's like, and you know why, right? Because he's somewhat of a rival, like, you know, in the drug world, but he actually killed his friend. He didn't have to. He saw him, puts the gun, pops him in the neck. Yep. And all this time, that guy's fighting for him.
Do you think the kiss annoyed him?
I don't think so. Oh. I don't, but it could be. Maybe you're seeing what I didn't see. I just think he's a complete... Because he says, once we're cops, we're going to eliminate all our rivals. Like, anybody who's in that world. Like, because, yes, they're friends, but in the same way, they might be at some points colliding for money of some kind.
Oh, I love it. So, I love it, too, about Castor. He didn't play the long game. He could have given tiny info, drop by drop, right? But he had to kill Sean. But I don't know. It's a smart movie. I think it's good, dude. I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad to watch it again. Like you said, it'd probably been 15 years for me. So, no, I dug it. This was fun. Any final thoughts about this movie, man?
Final thoughts that I wanted to sneak in. I did appreciate the scene when he's looking in the mirror and he's all high.
Oh yeah.
Because we can maybe associate or not associate.
I just
did
the face,
the face.
Yeah.
Like whether you want to be drunk or whatever, anything happens in life, and when he's looking in that mirror and he's like disassociated completely.
Yeah.
Like his mind is gone and now he's on psychedelics. Who knows what? I checked what it was. There's no official real drug. They gave it a name in the movie, Quatrim or something. But it could be a plethora of different psychedelic drugs that they actually take in that movie. But he's like gone because he's become the enemy now. Like he's looking in the mirror and he's seeing the man he hates. Yep. And then he's acting well. Like it's crazy. Like I don't know, imagine being on LSD on mushrooms and you look and you see somebody you hate your whole life. Like you have a trip and you're like looking at yourself. You don't see you. You see like somebody who traumatized you all your life. We're lucky. Well, I can speak for myself. I don't have no traumas like that. Nobody's killed my brother, my son, my father. But imagine being put in a position where you look in the mirror and you see the person you loathe the most in the world and you're on like some psychedelic drug. So now you are lost cause. You're like, have I become the monster? So he's blown out of the water at that point. Cage is acting. He's just like crippled, right?
Yeah. Like
destroyed, psychologically just finished. And I heard they made an extra at the end of the movie when he cuts his face. That's the face you're going to see forever. There's an alternate ending that they were gonna make it, but they said it was too dark. That